like you said, Bill, if Giannis, this is a series for him that is a legacy-defining series if he is able to get through the Celtics defense, because what Boston has done in the new year cannot be underrated defensively. While offensive rating was at its highest all time, Boston was leading in defensive rating by far. Like, it wasn't even close what they were this season. The fact they did what they did to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, people can knock the nets all they want, talk about the holes, and that's fair, but this defense is legit. And so for Giannis, if he's able to get through the Celtics defense and continue to lead Milwaukee to the East Finals, despite how great Boston is, I mean, that's just going to further elevate him. Like, where is he on your all-time rankings right now? And like, if he does get past Boston, does that move him up at all, just based off of the circumstances at all? Because like like you can't count out Giannis, even though I'm picking the Celtics in this series. You can't count him out with his greatness.
So my question is, let's just pencil in the best possible Giannis series. Let's give him 30, 35, and 15 every game. Yep. I still think they could lose the series in like 5 or 6, even if you give him those stats. It reminds me a little of that LeBron-Orlando series in 2009, when LeBron was just incredible. And I think he had like 35 a game, 36 a game, something like that. And it just didn't matter. Orlando was like, cool. And just basically blew him off the floor. So, KOC, to answer your question. Now, I haven't updated the pyramid in a couple months. I had Giannis at 19. Just a hair above Elgin Baylor and Julius Erving and Bob Pettit and Kevin Garnett, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, just because the 2 MVPs, everything that happened in the finals, assuming he's only 27, even if, whatever's going to happen in the next 6 years, I doubt it's going to be too crazy. It'll probably be on the same pace of where he's going. And it just, to me, he's clearly headed for the top group. I don't see any scenario where he's not. And the Durant thing basically parted the sea for him, where he is unquestionably the best player in the league now. I think that's the one thing that's happened in these playoffs right? Is it, Rob, is it unquestionable now that he's the best guy in the league, or would you still have somebody else in that conversation?
He's the guy I feel most certain about, to the point that you said let's pencil in a best case scenario for him of 35 and 15. I'm not sure that's a best case scenario. Like, I think he almost did those numbers against the Bulls, and they kind of sleptwalked through the last 3 games because they were functionally blowouts. He could be even more dominant than that in a series, even against a high level team. Like, I think he's at the point physically where he is almost defense independent. He's not a guy like Durant where he shoots over the top of you, but you just can't build a wall in front of him. He's so good at maneuvering around specifically guys who are trying to draw charges at this point. I'm not sure what you're supposed to do in terms of building a game plan to stop him, other than, you have 5 guys with a foot in the paint and you're just going to try to do the best you can to at least clutter his space. But even then, he could still get 30.
KOC, the one thing he's added over the last year, and he had it already, but now it's like a badass version of it. He has the LeBron move that LeBron added the second half of his career, when he puts the shoulder down and puts it into the guy. It's kind of an offensive foul, but they're just never going to call it, because you can't call a foul on somebody just being 3 times stronger than everyone else on the court. But he's just so physically imposing now. When he puts his body into somebody, they have to go backwards. And he's figured out how to use that in this way that when he has a head of steam now, he's just getting the call every time. They don't know how to call it otherwise. It's really smart. And LeBron, I feel like LeBron created that. I don't remember anybody from previous generations having that move, but Giannis just tapping into his like crazy physicality now. Look, it's a little Shaq-ish, it's a little LeBron-ish, but do you feel like that's relatively new, KOC?
Yeah, I mean, he's got that move. He's got a more efficient fadeaway from mid-range as well. He's got a better, far more efficient pull-up jumper as well. Like, isn't it amazing how Giannis scores 50 and in a clinching game in the finals, and he wins Finals MVP. Mirren Fader releases her book about him. Everybody loves Giannis, and then he comes back better. He comes back a better player after that. And I agree with Rob that I don't think 35 points is the best case scenario for Giannis. He averaged 38 in the last 5 games of the finals after his limited game 1 when he came back from that scary looking injury. 38 points. I think Giannis, the best case without Chris Middleton, is 40. I really think Giannis is capable of something like that. Like, this is a historic player, a guy who's going to eventually be in your pantheon. He's going to be there eventually. It's just a matter of when. So for
I don't think the
is,
Celtics let that happen, KOC. I think they'll trap him. I think they're going to double him. I think they're going to make Wesley Matthews and all these other dudes beat them.
So you think they overload on Giannis to the point that
they take him out.
It has to be everybody else. But
they don't want him to foul out people, and they're gonna basically do what they did to the Nets, where they were daring KOC to pass to Bruce Brown. Like, here, Bruce Brown's open again. Go give it to him.
Well, playing devil's advocate here. Well, what if you're getting more 6 out of 9 from 3 by Pat Connaughton, more knockdown shooting games from Grayson Allen, and it becomes to a point that maybe we can't help as much off of these knockdown shooters behind the 3-point line.
That's what they did to the Nets. They were fine with Dragic and Curry. They gave those shots up. They were okay with it.
Dragic isn't the shooter that those guys are, and Curry was limited too. So, I mean,
wow, you're comparing Grayson Allen to Dragic? This is unbelievable. Guy was a throw-in in a trade.
Better spot up shooter. I just think with Milwaukee, like, if they get the knockdown shooting from those Middleton replacements, then that opens the opportunity for Giannis. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm picking the Celtics in the series, but you can never count out Giannis. That's what I've learned over there. So
I'm not counting out Giannis. I'm not. That's why I'm treading very carefully. I am going to mutter this in a very low voice, and I don't want to sound like I'm being confident or anything. I'm just asking a question. Who's guarding Jason Tatum in this series?
I think it's probably Drew.
That's not going to last long.
I mean, it's either him or Wes Matthews, I would think, primarily.
The thing that Tatum...
They like to keep Giannis off the ball.
The thing that Tatum has figured out in this crazy evolution he's had over the last 4 or 5 months is if you're guarding with a small guy, he's shooting over that guy. And he's figured out either how to take that guy to the basket or shoot over him. And I think it's going to have to be those Wes Matthews, just like the taller guys with size. And I think at the end of the games, it might have to be Giannis. I think they're going to have
he
a
might
choice.
do it for a fourth quarter or something like that. I just don't think for the bulk of a game, he's going to be mostly on Horford or Rob Williams or
last 5 minutes. I think it's going to be Giannis, and I think they're going to have to do the thing where they put the small forward on Horford and dare the Sun. Hey, you should post up Al Horford. He's right there. He's got a 6'5" guy on him. You should give him the ball.
It was Drew Holiday during the season. He defended Tatum for 107 possessions. Chris Middleton defended him for 20, like, just to, put that out there. So Holiday was the primary defender, but with Milwaukee playing more 3 bigs with Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, and Giannis out there, maybe to, like Rob's point, maybe for the most part of the game, you're keeping Giannis near the rim, but maybe in endgame situations, it's Lopez and Bobby Portis as your help defenders inside, and then Giannis is the guy on ball against Tatum. Like, that's going to be fascinating to watch. But that's, again, like, another thing that Giannis is going to have to do for the Bucks to have any chance of winning the series. Giannis is going to have to be out of this world. Simple as that.
I don't think they can play that Lopez, Porter, Giannis lineup for too much against the Celtics team with the wings that the Celtics have.
All the spacing. Yeah.
And,
you can
and
do
that was
against
huge for them. That was huge against the Bulls. Like, Portis turned out to be a great fit in that lineup, and it was really productive. Little different look against the Celtics.